Hey, what's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. You're beautiful. I love you. You look like a fan base that's going to the playoffs. The Miami Dolphins, they beat the New York Jets 11-6. It was painful. It was excruciating, but they got it done. Jason Sanders with the big go-ahead 50-yard field goal to get the Miami Dolphins into the postseason, courtesy of a win here and the Buffalo Bills beating McCorkle and the New England Patriots. The Dolphins going to the postseason, finishing this year at 9-8, and they will take on those Buffalo Bills coming up next week on the road in the opening round of the playoffs. And you're here. Look, a lot can be said about how ugly this game is. We could say that. A lot can be said about how it was torture going through it. We could say that. A lot can be said about you were scared every single time Skylar Thompson dropped back. We could say that. We could say had, the dirty pants when Jason Sanders was lining up for that 50-yarder. We can acknowledge all of that stuff is here. But it's been a miserable time. 5 straight losses. A season that had a lot of fun and a lot of good individual performances. A lot of good things happening for the organization. It all felt like it was going off into the ether. No good was going to come of this. And now you're here. Now you're in a spot where you are going to the postseason. It doesn't feel wasted. It doesn't feel like something that is going to go and be forgotten about. And it doesn't have to be talked about as the worst collapse in franchise history. Instead, you could just say, look, some really unfortunate things have happened so far this year. They have wheezed to the finish line with injuries. But for the first time in 6 years, you're going to the playoffs, and that's a big deal. It is. It's a big deal. You're going to be in a matchup against the Buffalo Bills where if you don't have your quarterback, even if you have your quarterback, you might be double-digit underdogs in Tua Tagovailoa. If you don't have your quarterback, then who knows? I don't even know what the spread will be. Buffalo is obviously playing inspired. They've looked like an absolute juggernaut, and we've seen that. We saw even with you going blow for blow with them earlier on in the year how tough of a giant they are to slay. That being said, for the Dolphins to come out with this win today with, all the reports this week of, this guy's going to get fired, this guy's on the hot seat, I think a lot of that stuff, you could just breathe. It feels in a lot of ways. I was talking to Salon on the Porpoise Pod, and he was saying that, the arena, the stadium maybe didn't have the jubilance that it should. And I think that's silly. I think that the Dolphin fan, maybe the Dolphin fan feels more relief than anything. I think certainly there is in that locker room, everybody feels that, all right, at least part of the goal was done. You got here. And maybe it's not the way you wanted to get here, but look, you could have won last week and been in the same spot, going to Buffalo, and you just wouldn't have had maybe as much stress with, needing some help and things like that. You could have been in this exact same spot. Ever since you lost those 3 road games, you were going to be in a bit of an uphill battle, and certainly you've had to deal with a lot of adversity. That can't be ignored. And I think that's another good thing. When you're in this spot of the way the season's going and you lose as many games in a row as the Dolphins have, you don't want to acknowledge all the reasons why you're here. You want to be in a spot where, who can we blame? Who can we be mad at? Who can we be upset with for why you're in the spot that you're in? And now I feel like everybody can kind of take a step back and be like, man, you don't have your starting quarterback. You haven't had your starting left tackle. You lost your starting running back. Your star receiver's hobbled on one leg. Your other receiver looks like he's banged up. By the way, I'm at the Heat Arena. If you guys hear the noise in the background, I'm getting ready for a little Heat Nets over here. All that being said, you could acknowledge that your secondary was really banged up. All of that stuff. It's all on the table. You could realize, good God, what do they got? Some monstrous stuff going on over there. You can acknowledge that all of that stuff is maybe part of the reason why it got so hard. But you can also be happy that you are here, that you have another game. You're doing something that you haven't done for the franchise in a very long time. First time they've had 3 straight winning seasons in a very, very long time. And I think I think it was important in a lot of ways to get to this point just because of a lot of the good that had happened. People were, doubting the GM, doubting the coach, doubting the quarterback, all of that stuff. And I get why. I get it. It's a lot of angst. It's a long time of losing. That's a lot of time you've gone without winning a game. And though today was not pretty, and it was not pretty at all, you were able to get it done. You were able to get it done. Jason Sanders, with the big balls. I never lost faith in him. Probably because I don't think I had faith in him. That's why I never lost it. I mean, I was texting with the crew, and I was just like, this is really going to come down to this, huh? But you knew it was going to, because like anytime anytime Skylar Thompson dropped back, I was a nervous wreck, and he looked like a nervous wreck. Like, it's rare you could watch pro sports and be like, that guy looks terrified. And Skylar Thompson, in a lot of ways, looked really terrified anytime he had to do something for this Dolphins football team. But it doesn't matter now. They're here, and he didn't screw it up. That was the big thing. He did not screw it up. That was the big thing you want from Skylar Thompson. And the last time he played the Jets, it all snowballed. When Teddy Bridgewater last week, you just needed him not to screw it up. He threw a pick six. He screwed it up. Skylar Thompson, you got props, dude. You didn't screw it up. You didn't screw it up today. The run game, both running backs rushed for over 70 yards. You really got something from them. Ooh, they got the flamethrowers that are coming out of here. That's kind of cool. Goosies. By the way, speaking of Goosies, I saw this photo from Yanni Caracas from WPBF here in up in Palm Beach in my neck of the woods. And it's Tua and Mostert arm in arm watching their team clinch. That's a beautiful thing. It really is. What a delight. What a delight. And you get the help from the Bills that you need to get there. It was Mike McDaniel. Actually, I'm reading some of the quotes that are coming across. He said he was well aware, seeing this from Ethan Skolnick's Twitter, he was well aware that he hadn't won a challenge all year. Said it on the headset before he finally won one. They turned him into a meme on going over 5. I didn't appreciate that from Fox when he goes over 5 for the he was challenging what he thought was a fumble, but he was down by contact, and he finally wins one on the catch that went to the ground. So they reversed it, and it was that was a big swing in a lot of ways, because this was a Dave Wannstedt, Tony Sperano field position, field goal special type of game. Like, it was, these guys were duking it out for field position on punts. You had a couple of big ones where Mike McDaniel went for it, but no, this was like, let's see who can get to the spot that's going to get their field goal kicker in a spot to nail the kicks. And they get there, man. It was something. It really, really was. And now, you put yourself, he's saying on Tua, by the way, seeing this, we'll take it day by day. I will not think about any game, whether it's this year or next year, until he's fully ready and requires medical clearance. He says it doesn't help Tua to project any sort of expectations. Are we getting better today? We'll assess everything when he's fully cleared, and when that is, go with that. I'm not worried about timelines. So Mike McDaniel not putting any pressure on Tua, but I'm sure that your level of confidence in if he's back or not back, it definitely changes. Like, look, you can say all the criticisms you want about the guy. You could come out here and you could say, I don't believe he's a franchise guy. I think he's a system guy. I don't think they should invest in him. If you're a Dolphins fan and you don't believe you have a better chance to win with Uno out there next week, you're just a hater or dumb. I get some of the fears have come to fruition this year between, the injuries, between some of the games that maybe he didn't come up with the best performances, all that stuff. I get it. But between where this team was with him at quarterback and where they are with their backup quarterbacks, it is night and day. So I don't know what's going to happen. It's tough to speculate on where he's at. I think that was the first report that came out from Jay Glazer, right, that the initial hope was if the Dolphins make the playoffs, Tua was targeting coming back for the playoffs. That would put him kind of in line of the first time that he came back. He got hurt against Cincinnati, comes back a few weeks later. That would be about the same spot, because let's see, he got, if we're just going based off the last time this happened, and I know that's a little bit tough to do, but he was out September 29th, and he came back. He missed October. He missed the next week against the Jets. He missed another game against the Vikings, and then was back for Sunday Night Football. So, yeah, this would be 2 weeks of games after his injury to get where they need to go. But Dolphins getting this 11-6 win today. like that safety at the end. You just love it. It was like all that razzle dazzle that was going on. What a roller coaster this season is. I'm actually looking at the schedule right now. 3 wins, 3 losses, 5 wins, 5 losses, 1 win. Hey, let's keep the streak. Let's bounce it back, baby. Keep it going. The Bills, by the way, big shout out to them for beating the Patriots. McCorkle, you can go to hell, dude. Bills get it done today. They win in Goosey's fashion. I mean, the Gooseys that had to be flowing through that building when they get the kickoff return touchdown for Damar Hamlin was absolutely crazy. That was like movie stuff. That was absolutely nutty to see that they were able to get that done. That building's going to be rocking. It's going to be a tough challenge, man. It's going to be a tough challenge ahead. But the fact that the Dolphins even get to be in there, could you imagine if you weren't back in this challenge? Could you imagine if you had to sit back after everything, all the fun, all the crazy offense that you got to watch at certain points this year, and it was going to end in no playoffs? Yeah, I mean, I get it, man. This isn't how you envisioned it when you were putting up 30 a week in the 5-game win streak, but you're here. And I think that is, for me, I think over this next 24 hours for the Dolphin fan, you enjoy that. Then we wonder about what happens with the quarterback situation. We wonder if he's going to be ready for this game coming up. And then the next part after that is if he is, I think your confidence is going to be – I think people are going to be peacocking a little bit. That they're going to think that if he's able to go and, he looks relatively healthy. Now, the one thing we would say is, like, look, when Tua did come back the last time around, that first Pittsburgh game, he looked a little bit rusty. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I think it's silly to get to worry about how rusty or not. If he's able to play, I think he'll be absolutely thrilled no matter what. Feel good, Dolphins. Dolphins are going to the playoffs. They win 11-6 over the New York Jets. Buffalo Bills beat the Patriots, and that showdown will happen next week. And I'm sure we'll have plenty to get to as the week rolls on, everybody. Enjoy this one.